Okay, we are back, guys. So sorry about that. We were having technical difficulties, but I think I got it this time. So as soon as he is on, we will bring on Mr. Eric Adams, guys, and we'll just have a little chat with him real quick, just to get you guys familiar with some of the vendors that we have in the group. A lot of the people that help us, all of us in the groups, help grow the community, answer lots and lots of questions that we have often. Some of us have learned a lot from these guys, and we're gonna have one of them once a week. We're gonna try to do this with a different guest and get you guys to know them. So here we go. Let me see. We are going to get Mr. Adams here. I don't know why it's not letting me. Give me a second, guys. I really don't know why this isn't working right now. And it's really upsetting me because I had this set up already. Okay, well, you know what, guys? I can't get him on camera, so we're gonna have to settle to giving him a phone call here, because for whatever reason it's not letting me get him on camera here with us. It shows that he's watching, but it doesn't show. It doesn't show up for some reason. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna have to just give him a phone call, guys, since I can't get the camera to work or to get him on the camera on here with us on the live. So let's give him a call real quick.
Gabriel, what's up, my brother?
Mr. Adams, how's it going?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. I know you have a busy schedule, so.
Yeah, no problem. No, I'm just sitting out in the garage having a cocktail.
Oh, there you go. That's one way to do it too.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we really appreciate you doing this with us and taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. The problem is there's a huge delay between the phone and the video.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully this works out and we get to get it down for the next time.
Yeah. No, we'll work on this. And
yes.
You and I can practice in our lingerie later.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, so I just turned my sound off the video.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, like I was telling our viewers here and our group members, I want to do this just to get everybody familiarized with a lot of the vendors in the group, a lot of the guys that help the community and help the hobby grow and become what it is, because a lot of these guys, a lot of the newcomers that don't know or don't have don't know who the sources are or the where they can go for help or go to buy parts that they need and whatnot. I want everybody, or as many people as possible, to know that there's a lot of resources out there and a lot of members that are willing to help and answer some questions.
Right. Well, as you well know, I work for OMB and I do the Grey Go videos on YouTube. And, I've got my OMB underwear on. But, there's a lot of fine vendors out there. I get that. I buy from a lot of them myself if I need something that we don't have.
Right.
But one thing that I pride myself in was coming from an industry that you didn't want to shake anybody's hands unless you had hand sanitizer, and there was no integrity in anything. I make a lot less money than I do at OMB than I would have if I would have stayed in my previous industry. However, I can hold my head high and I can be proud knowing that, as a company, we stand behind what we sell. If you break it, you buy it, and nobody wants to admit that they break shit, but we all break stuff. So I get that. I understand that. But we answer the phone. I had a situation with a gentleman out of Las Vegas yesterday, that he was so confused he didn't know up from down what engine he had. I told him what to buy, and we took care of him on some parts. I don't sell people parts they're not going to buy, not going to use or don't need to use. It seems to be the current trend on Facebook from what I'm seeing is everybody has to have an Amazon link. Nobody cares about where the product's made or customer service, and Amazon customer service, is relegated to Facebook. And you can't call Jeff Bezos and say, hey, dude, what jets do I need or what length push rods do I need? So my approach to this is, I'm going to tell you what you need. If you want to go a little bit further, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't sell everybody 308 cams like other people do because we will accept a return on a cam, and a 308 cam doesn't go into, it'll go into every engine. It just won't work with every cylinder head.
Right.
So, I'm trying my best to not get people over their heads. And, I don't sell you what you don't need. And if you buy the wrong thing, we take it back. So, we're doing our best to support the community the best we can, in the best way we can. It's not always possible, and we certainly face some huge challenges with certain individuals. Like if you watch my Hilliard clutch video on YouTube at the Grey Go Garage about Ben that's saying his clutch exploded. Well, everything's contained inside of a drum, and there's no way it can explode. So just because you installed it wrong, that's not our fault or the fault of the product. So, I have to be the bad guy sometimes. Got my ass ripped a couple times today only, so it wasn't too bad. So we do our best, and we try, and we do our best to support the mini bike community as much as we can. And this pretty man in front of us, Gabriel Lopez, he's one of my favorite people on the planet, and he does too much street riding for me to get behind him completely. But I do what I can for whoever I can all the time.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, man. I know myself, a lot of the guys out there. They've learned a lot from your videos, and like I said, a lot of these guys that have those tutorial videos out there, we really appreciate all of that. But yes, when it comes to parts, I think it's safe to say that in this hobby, a lot of it is trial and error. And I think you can agree that we could all do a little bit more research before we go putting on parts, and just a little bit better understanding of what parts you're using. But for those
right. Well, Gabriel, it's so tough. It's such a tough thing for me to go on to Facebook, especially without a couple cocktails. Just because, somebody's going to answer a simple question like, how much air do I put in my tire? And you're going to get 20 different answers.
Right.
When it says in your owner's manual, if you're a Coleman rider, or it says on the side of the tire.
Yeah.
So, that's the part about this I don't like about social media. And it's something that I have to fight daily. Everybody said I need a 308 cam. Everybody said I need, chrome ollie push rods.
Right.
Everybody says I need push rods that are, 8.27 inches long. And I just shake my head and I'm like, okay, well, you're going to roll with that? or are you going to trust somebody that's already done the trial and error and has made every mistake so you don't have to?
Right. No, and I believe you, because just yesterday I had a kid ask me. He said, "Hey, I got a 260 cam for my Predator." He goes, "But people are telling me that I'm not going to be able to start it with the pull start." He goes, "How do I start it?" And I said, "Well, I gave him the quick answer. I said, you know what? That they're lying to you. You can totally start it with the pull start." I explained the pressure release on the cams and everything to him. I said, "You'll be fine." But like you said, it's a lot of times you get so many answers from different people and so many suggestions and opinions that this is why one of the things why I'm doing this, so the guys out there know who these guys are that they can trust and go to for answers and help.
Right, and that's one thing when people come up and claim that oh, are you an expert on this? I'm like, no, I'm not an expert, but I've made a lot of mistakes, so you don't have to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I understand how an engine works. I'm well versed on these small engines to the point that I'm nauseated by it. So there's so many different. It's like, will this crank fit in my engine? Do I need to change my bearings? Is it the same seal? Well, I think the term clone has kind of gotten lost. Because if somebody was to clone Gabriel, I'd have one of you in my backyard. But it's a clone is supposedly an exact duplicate. But it's like doesn't matter if it's a 54 millimeter stroke crank or 59 or 60 millimeter stroke crank. They all use the same bearings. The only thing's different is the rod and the flywheel.
Right.
But unless you have a Predator engine, all the flywheels use the same rod and the same flywheel.
Right.
So I fight against this every single day.
Yeah, I know, and I believe you, because me, along with some of the guys that run the groups, Travis from TLC, a lot of these guys, they get the same questions once in a while asked, and like you said, it's repetitive, and which again brings me back to we want as much information out there as possible. Like I always tell people, I don't know everything, like you just said, but I learned this from somebody else, so I will pass it on. There's no point in keeping all this information to yourself. At least I don't see a point to that. Why, if you learn from somebody, why not pass it on to somebody else?
Right. And I share whatever I have, and it's like my videos. Those all my videos are done uncut. And the reason that I insist on that is because if I make a mistake, it might be the same mistake that you might make. So, I make a lot of mistakes, but I am certainly blessed with the ability to cover up my mistakes faster than any other human on the planet.
Right. And what I always tell people, because the people will ask me, well, what's the best video to watch on how to remove a governor? And I always tell them, I go, look, choose a topic, whether it's a governor or whatever it is, and watch 10 videos on YouTube if you have to, because you will learn something different from each one of those videos. Or each one of those guys will skip something that they think is not important, but the other guy will cover it. So you will learn a lot from watching 10 different videos than just watching the one. And I mean, to me, that's how I've learned a lot.
Well, it's some of the tougher videos I watch are that guy with the bald head and the red facial hair.
Oh yeah.
Because and Greg's a good guy, but don't skip these crucial spots.
Right.
And for whoever is out there listening right now, I'm not going to do a video on how to remove a governor. Just because the stock parts are made for 3,600 RPM.
Right.
You know, if the rod comes through the block, well, if you have a stock gas tank, it's going to stay right there. But that 300-degree oil is going to chicken fry your leg. You know, if the flywheel comes apart, you know, that'll be very bad. That's not very common, but just the magnet flying off is going to ruin your engine.
And it happens,
You know?
and it happens because I've seen it happen. Uh, I I've seen more flywheels fall apart than rods, to be honest with you. But it again, rods do fail. The stock rods
Right.
do fail.
Well, see, the rod fails slowly. You know, the rod fails like a cancer. So, you know, at 5,000, 5,500 RPM, it's going to start starving for oil. So it's going to start shedding some of that aluminum off the inside of the rod,
Right.
deposit that on the crank because it's so hot. And, you know, I have so many guys, yeah, I open up my engine and gosh, it seems tight and everything. Well, that's just because the material moved from one place to the next. So now you're going to rev it up. It's going to get hot, and you know that rod's going to get so hot that they typically break right in the middle. I don't see a lot of them break at the cap and stuff like that. But when they break right in the middle, that's when they punch through the top of the block. So, you know, as a mini bike guy, and even though my children are grown, I don't want shrapnel or hot oil between my legs.
Yeah, no, I can totally 100% with you agree on that.
Well, and you know, unlike you know that little Chinese kid selling those $20 flywheels out of his garage that doesn't have insurance, you know, we're insured,
Right.
and you know, so you know, can we buy those flywheels? Yeah, we can buy them. They're a little over $8 in China. You know, so it'll cost me $14-15 to get those in stock here, and you know the owner of the company asked me about that, and I said no. And you know, not all the flywheels that we sell are made in America. You know, we sell the PVL that are made in Germany.
Right.
But PVL makes flywheels for engines that'll spin 18,000 RPM. You know, so they know what they're doing. So you know, I don't want to have my name or the company's name associated with somebody getting hurt.
Right. And yeah, I totally understand that.
You know, that nearly put Briggs and Stratton out of business years ago.
Wow.
They were racing flathead engines, you know, and they've got a nice cast iron flywheel, and the racers, you know, constantly spun those up to 7,000-8,000.
Right.
But when one came apart on the backstretch and blew out of the blower housing, went into the crowd, and unfortunately killed a man.
Oh wow, I didn't know about that.
You know, but you know, when you're talking about legal stuff, there's always a trickle down effect. So you know, first they start with Briggs and Stratton with a $50 million lawsuit.
Right.
They probably put the track out of business with a lawsuit. Probably put, you know, somebody else out of business if there was an engine builder with the lawsuit.
Right.
So I just can't get behind that. You know, and I would never put the company in that position.
Right.
You know, I know the owner of OMB very, very well, and consider her a very, very good friend. And it's important to me that we all do our best to keep customers safe while protecting the company.
Right. Yeah. No. And I mean, I don't know the owner personally, but through you, how you talk about her, and all the times that you know both of you have helped us within the group and with the giveaways and all that, and she just sounds like an amazing person.
Victoria is amazing.
Yeah.
I think she's superhuman. I don't know how she does it.
Now, I do have a question for you that a lot of people want to know.
Okay.
Other than, you know, the GOAT.
I'm married, Gabriel. I'm married. Sorry.
Okay. Well, besides that, other than being the GOAT and, you know, the having the title, the most awesome person at OMB, what is your official title at OMB?
I don't have an official title.
Okay, so you're just
you
all
know,
around awesome person there?
Yeah, correct.
There you go.
You know, my main priority during the course of my day is one, customer service, tech support, I also, as we have that live chat on there that I love so much or not. But, I help people internally because we have a few customer service gals that help process orders.
Right.
So as they're processing orders, if they have a question about an order or there's something that they're not comfortable with the order, they will get with me, and sometimes I'll call the customer and say, hey, you're buying the wrong stuff here. What are you doing? And they're like, oh, really? Thanks.
See, and that's what I'm talking about right there is guys like you that actually help the community, not just guys that are just trying to sell parts. There's not very many of you that do that. They will tell you, hey, that's not what you need, and that's what we need in this hobby. That's what we need in the community. And there's like I said, there's lots of you out there that a lot of people are not familiar with, and this is what we're trying to do, is get everybody familiarized with all of you guys, and give them
one thing that we don't do is we're not going to sacrifice long-term goals for short-term gains.
Right. And
a lot of these companies will come and go, but that's not what we want.
Yeah, and like it goes back to, like I said, we don't just want a part seller, because we've seen them. We've seen the guy that is all about the blue motor, and all of a sudden the blue motor is trash. Now he's all about the red motor.
Yeah.
And that to me is just, if that's what you do, that's what you do. To me, that's not helping the community. That's not growing the community in a positive way.
Right.
So.
Right.
But
I also do, like most of the descriptions that you see on the website, I've either made them or touched them in some way to hopefully make them as complete as possible. I also am sourcing new products. I also designed some products, which I'm excited to share with you and the viewers.
Yes, yes.
I have 2 of my products that the Chinese have knocked off now.
Nice.
So yeah, the riser plate and the ungoverned throttle bracket.
Right, right. I've seen that. And then that's a lot of people don't know that you designed those, and see that this is the kind of information we want to get out there for everybody to, to share.
Right.
And
but,
going,
it's something like the riser plate, for instance. When our riv nuts, the threaded inserts that are in those plates.
Right.
Ours, we're having hex. The laser cuts out a hex shape, and ours goes into a hexagon hole, and then is crimped, hydraulically crimped in there.
Right.
So you can't strip ours.
Right.
But the Chinese ones aren't made that way. They're made with thinner material, and they have riv nuts that'll spin on you. But people want to save that $10.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not worth it. It is not worth it at all, because you're gonna spend another, whatever you already spent, because you messed that one up. But and going back to the descriptions on a lot of the products you guys have on your website, that is the one thing I love about that website. The description, it tells you exactly what you need and what parts will work with most of the products you guys have on there.
Well, I appreciate that, but not everything.
Not everything, but yeah.
I update descriptions daily.
Right. But there's a lot of stuff does, and not all websites do that for you, man. Some just tell you, what you can see, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. And trust me, brother, that's a lot of work.
Oh no, I believe you. And you know what? We appreciate that, man. We do. We really do. I know a lot of guys out there are very appreciative to everything you do and all the help you give us.
Yeah. No, I want everybody to be happy and go have fun.
Right. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one last thing, man. What's the one advice you would give anybody coming into this hobby?
Well, I don't know that I have one, but one thing comes to mind. It's like the old saying, universal parts universally fit nothing.
Right.
don't expect everything to bolt right on and be perfect. Mini bikes were never perfect. Even the best mini bikes, when we're talking vintage stuff like a Rupp or a Bonanza, they weren't perfect when they were new.
Right.
These bikes were all designed to go 25, maybe 30 miles an hour.
Yep.
So as being a guy, we all want to go fast. I love building engines. I've got a 236 on the bench right now.
Oh wow.
Love building engines. Another 236. I got one in the rafters too. But don't expect everything to fit.
Right.
Expect to have to do some of that. What's that word that we forgot a long time ago? Work. Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about work or are you talking about common sense? Because
no, because that's uncommon.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have common sense, do a little work.
Right.
If it's like all the sprockets, especially for the Coleman stuff. Hey, this sprocket or sprocket adapter doesn't go over my hub. Well, how much powder coat does your hub have?
Yeah.
Are you willing to get your Dremel out and go through the inside of the adapter or the sprocket with a Dremel until it fits?
Right.
So as a I think I was an 11-year-old kid with this old 2 horsepower Briggs & Stratton. I fixed that mini bike and rode it with a hammer, pliers, screwdriver, and some baiting wire.
Yeah, it don't take a whole lot.
So if you're out there building mini bikes and you can't outthink a 12-year-old, maybe reevaluate your choices.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, well, thank you very much, man. We appreciate your time. We appreciate all the great advice you gave us and knowledge.
Yeah, we'll work on this video stuff offline, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll get this down so like the next time we do this, we'll be a little bit better.
Shit, I'm gonna go buy a disco ball.
There you go. Just hang it right over your head, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna have Mrs. Goat holding onto it with the broomstick over your head.
Well, if she was a good wife, I already went through this double-sized cocktail, so she got another one ready for me.
See, there you go, man. Living the life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right,
I
Eric.
wouldn't call it a dream job, but it is a good job.
Yeah. No. Well, it's a dream for us to have you. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. It's always good to see you, Big Sexy.
Same here, man. Take care of yourself, and again, we appreciate your time, just for hanging out with us today.
Yeah. It's my pleasure. Anytime, sir.
All right, man. You have a good evening.
You too. Thanks.
Bye. All right, guys. There you have it. That was Mr. Eric Adams, the great goat from OMB Warehouse. All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of this. And again, we're going to try to do this weekly. We will have a new guest next week for you guys. I don't know who it is yet because I do have a few guys that have agreed to do this with us. We just got to work at it schedule-wise to see who's available and whose time works. But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Thank you guys for making some time. And hopefully you guys can join us on next week's little live chat here. All right, guys, have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you on the next one.